Okay guys, in today's webinar we're going to cover workflow in the Fieldmotion system and really focus on complete actions. That is when you complete a job in Fieldmotion. So we're going to start off with a quick video demonstration showing you all what's possible. How much do you know about workflow in Fieldmotion? This is Bill. Bill is just finished for today, but further unexpected work will be needed to finish off the job. So instead of having to ring the office or send emails, the Fieldmotion system can be set to do this automatically. When you complete a job in Fieldmotion, you can set up the system to send emails, send job reports, or even create further jobs. These workflow events can be set dependent on each form. They can also be set up dependent on answers within a form. Okay, back to Bill. When Bill completes his paperwork on the Fieldmotion app, an email will be sent directly to Jack in the office who schedules the jobs. At the same time, a further job will be created on the system. This job can be sent directly to Tony's phone with job notes from Bill attached. Further emails or job reports can be sent to management to keep them up to date, the stock manager to let him know what he needs to order, and most importantly, to your customers to keep them up to date with progress. There are many ways to set up workflow. To find out more, go to the Help section in Fieldmotion. Okay guys, we're going to talk about workflow in Fieldmotion. So the first area you go into is your forms page. Okay, now in your forms page, I can see that I've got three different types of forms: a commissioning sheet, a service sheet, and a further work sheet. Now, just a little tip here. I can actually see any workflow or any incomplete actions by clicking here. So on the commissioning sheet, I can see that an email is sent to the customer when the form is complete, and the report, the actual paperwork, is sent to the customer. Okay, perfect. On the service sheet, I can see if the question is further work needed equals yes, a job will be created. Okay, so a job will be created. Okay, that's perfect. And if I look on the further works, on the completion of the further works form, an email will be sent to a specific email. Okay, this is just a sample, office@yourcompany.com, for example. Okay, so that's perfect. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go into the service sheet. So if we go into the service sheet, we can see our questions. Okay, now a couple of questions I want to point out. For example, is further work needed? And I've got a drop down box saying yes or no. Okay, that's very important. I'll speak about that later. And then I've also got date of further work and a date box. Okay, and I'm going to point this out later as well. And then I've also got some time boxes. Again, I'm going to point those out. So if I go into my own complete, I've got a number of things set up here. So first of all, what I can see is number one, if, okay, if I click here, all the questions in the form will appear. Okay, and you can see is further work needed. So that's what I've selected. Equals yes, create a job, and then we've got a number of things we can do. So we want to create a job. So in 0 days, that means we're going to create it immediately, or you could have it in 1 day. Okay, 1 day after the job is completed, or after the date of further work. So for example, in the form, if I had selected the 3rd of May, it would be 1 day after, and it would be the 4th of May. Okay, so very, very simple to set up. It'd have to be a date in the form. Including the weekends or skipping weekends. At what time? So also in the form, if you said, what time do we have to go to do the further work? And it was 9 o'clock, you could pick the time. Okay. And what type of form? So service sheet. I'm actually going to change that because it actually should be a further worksheet. How long should the job last? Maybe 2 hours. What type of job? So is it a commissioning job? Well, it's not a commissioning job. It's actually a further works job. Give it a priority. We're going to make it a high priority. have the status as incomplete. We can pick which user, so it could be the same user, it could be Jerome, or if I leave it blank, it basically means that it will go onto the system as unassigned. Okay, in this case, I'm going to pick the same user. What do I want to copy across from the first job? Well, I want to copy across the job reference, and I also want to copy across some parts of the form. So some of the things that were filled in the first job sheet, I want to pull to the second job sheet. I can pick my department, okay, and then I can see which form fields are copied. So, for example, if I look on the form, it says work carried out. Okay, this was a question in the original form, and I want that to populate in the second form. And we'll also want to pull across the warranty date into the second form. Okay, so basically, if I say, is there further work needed? Another job will be created 1 day later. Okay, it will use the further works form. A duration will be put on the form, and we'll use the same user. We're going to copy across the job reference, 2 form values, and that's basically it. Okay, so it will automatically create the job. So that's the first thing. Now, if we wanted to send an email on the completion of this job, we could say send an email. Okay, and if I hover over here, you can see the people you can send an email to. So, for example, you can send it through to the customer, the parent of the customer, the creator of the job, or even the user who has completed the job. Or quite simply, you could fill in an email yourself here. Okay. Now, if you have to send to multiple different people, you can also simply set up send email to and have multiple different people. Now, you can also decide which email you want to set, and we will cover that in another part, in another demonstration, where you can have different email templates. Okay, and then the next thing as well, what we can do is we can actually send the report. So it's the same thing. An email is just details about the job, and the report is the actual paperwork. So if I wanted to send it through to the customer, I would simply select customer using the exact spelling as you can see in the hover below. That was a quick explanation on how workflow and the on-complete rules work in Fieldmotion.